Welcome to Lecture 3 in Introduction to Applied Internet of Things. This is Programming Part 7, and in this part we are going to discuss functions and Wi-Fi. Functions in Python. Simplified is a block of code that does something, like a small program inside your program. You give the function a name, so you can call it, and you use the def keyword to create a function. You can send data to a function called arguments. You can use that argument to do something inside the function. If you want, you can return something from the function using the return keyword. And when you call the function, Python jumps to that code, runs it, and then comes back. Functions are here to help you make the code look cleaner, shorter, and the most important things, make some part of the code reusable. In Python, you must use the parentheses when calling or naming a function, even though you're not giving any arguments to it. In this first example, we create a function called print numbers. And don't forget the parentheses and a colon. And then you have some commands indented. In this case, you have 3 print commands. So if you call this function, print numbers, these 3 lines of code will run, and you get print 1, 2, and 3 on the shell. If you want, you can send data to the function. In this case, I will send a number 5 here. So the number 5 here will be an argument, and we can use that argument inside our function. In this case, we will get range 5. That means that this function will print 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. That's how range works, as we discussed in an earlier part. We can also return data. So in this case, I create a function called square and use an argument here. And if I send 5 into this function, it will return 25. And this 25 I have to catch, and I use this variable s here to catch the data, and then I can do something with it. For in this example, I can print it out. So here are 3 small examples. You can do a lot more with functions. So if you want, you can read more about it in the documentation. But I think this is enough for this part and how to make the Wi-Fi working with a function. The Wi-Fi is imported in network. So if you have the right firmware on your Pico, the firmware using the W version, you can have these commands. You can read about them in the MicroPython documentation found in the link below here. You can set the Wi-Fi active, you can scan, you can connect, and you can config. It's quite simple. I will show you right away. Here are some example code from the documentation, but we will run like this instead. First, we have to import network. And we also import machine. You can do this on the same line like this. And then we will use this to have a variable called VLAN that is uses network doc VLAN here. So this one I will configure and run to make it works on my phone here. And my phone have the following data. Is have as SSID called Honor 8. And don't forget to, if you want to test your own phone, to turn internet sharing on and set it to on. And I have a key here, not the most secure. And if I want this Wi-Fi, I have to set it as active. And you use this method. And then you can just connect. And then we can run, and hopefully it will be working, but we don't see anything. So if we want to see anything, we use this. To get the IP version 4 address. But now it could happen, it is already been installed here, that we got something errors here, because sometimes it takes a while to do this. So not to get too fast to this line, we will use a while loop, and while VLAN is connected, and this will return true if it is connected, otherwise false. So while not VLAN is connected, we will set the state to idle machine, or we can just sleep for a while, but I wanted to show this command here. So now it will work. Maybe we want to use these lines multiple times, so we will create a function. I will call it the connect, and I have to do like this and tab, and now I can call this command and see if it's still running. We don't have to use this if we know it's connected. So often in our code we will use if not VLAN is connected. So if we are not connected and we need to connect in our code, we will write this. So this is quite common inside our while true loop. So we don't have to connect every time if we are connected. But if we sometimes want to connect to send data, we check if we are connected. If not, we will connect. We will now use our Wi-Fi connector to connect to the internet and get some data. I have found some interesting data here on this location, where you can find every people inside space. You can get the code in the slides after all, if you want to use this data. To use this data, I will create a new function after this first one, def get and like this. I will call it get Astros, even not everyone is from United States. But first of all, I need an URL for this site information, and it's located here. So this is a JSON data. You can read more about JSON data. I will give you some information in the slides where to find, and then use a response and using something called uRequest. And to make this work, I have to make another import. Import uRequests. And use this get, not get, and this URL. And now the JSON data is located here in this response here. And it's quite simple to use this JSON data. I just have to call it data and then And then I can use like this, print there are, and then use data and this parenthesis, square brackets, and number. In space. If you look at the file here, you can see that there are a key here called number and a value 12 here. So hopefully it will show 12 on the screen. So if we are connected, then we will use this get astros, and hopefully this command will print. Oh, sorry. We will run this, remove this one. And don't forget, this is a method. So if I run this, there are 12 people, 12 in space. We could have like this instead. Okay, so in this case we get this number, but I want to print out everyone in space. And for that I will use a for loop for each loop. So in this case you have to look at the data to understand it, but for person in data people this will be a list, and then we can print every name and what craft they are on. So I will print person and this parenthesis name and then comma person So if we look at the JSON data once more, we will get this data for each and one. We get a name and we get a craft. So if they are on ISS or they are on another craft. You see here, here's another craft. We get that in our for each loop. So if we run this code here, some errors here. Let me see. We forgot like this. Connect. So here we got some data. We get the IP address here from this command, and then it printed out number of person in space and then each of one of those people and where they are located in space. So this is how to connect to the Wi-Fi and how to do something with it. Normally you don't have to do things like this, but it's just a demonstration what you can do. And you can also get data to your Pico if you want from the internet. You don't always have to send data, you can also get data. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask us on our Discord servers, and good luck with your programming.